The specific purpose is to persuade the audience to reduce the amount of food they waste to help become part of the solution to minimizing food waste and maximizing our food's resources. Did you know that millions of pounds of food a year are being wasted in Michigan alone, while many around the world even struggle to put food on the table? I want to discuss some policies that are responses to the issues not only affecting Michiganders, but also communities worldwide. The problem is food waste. Food waste not only creates environmental hazards, but also creates food insecurity among these communities. These policies I list today can benefit our environment, save us money, and help those in need. We should reduce food waste in Michigan through policies. Fortunately, there are simple yet effective ways that we can address this issue by looking at the problems, causes, and policies as solutions. Let's start by discussing the problems with food waste. The problems with food waste. The Barilla Center for Food and Nutrition defines food waste as the misuse or food losses that occur during industrial processing, distribution, and consumption. Food waste is a significant issue in Michigan, where millions of pounds of edible food end up in landfills each year. According to EcoWatch, nearly 1/3 of all food produced in the world is discarded or wasted for various reasons. That equates to nearly 1.3 billion tons a year, 2024. The significance of food waste to the U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates that 30 to 40% of the nation's food supply is lost or wasted. Globally, the Climate Solution Nonprofit Project draws estimates that wasted food creates about 8% of the emitted greenhouse gases into the air, and says that reducing food waste is the most impactful thing that we can do to address climate change. This wasted food not only represents a detrimental impact on the environment, but it also fails to feed the hungry individuals and families that could profit off things such as food recovery programs. Another problem that we face in the reduction of food waste, according to the United Nations News, is that increasing the efficiency of food systems and reducing food loss and waste requires investment, innovation, technologies, and infrastructure, 2021. But by reducing food loss and waste, it will strengthen the sustainability of our food systems and improve our planetary health. Now let's go through the sustainable food management scale, and let's start from the preferred to least preferred. First is wasteless, and that is to produce, purchase, and put on your plate only what you need. And the next one is to feed people. Eat what you take and donate what you don't take, and donate what you don't eat to food banks or shelters. Next is feed animals. What you don't eat could be fed to animals. Creating energy. Your food waste can be used to make fuel and electricity. Next is compost. Build healthy soils and reduce the carbon in the atmosphere. And lastly is landfills, which is the last resort where most of it ends up anyways. Now let's discuss the causes of food waste. The causes of food waste. According to this infographic from the Institute of Local Self-Resilience, every year the U.S. landfills and trash industries receive up to 167 million tons of garbage. Over 50% of typical public garbage set out on the curb is compostable, with 21% of the rest of it being food scraps alone, and 15% being paperboard or paper, 8% being yard trimmings, and the last 8% being wood waste. Now let's talk about the three main causes, with the first cause being associated with the customer's behavior, such as buying more than they can consume, and leading to spoilage and lack of looking at date labels to understand the shelf life of a product. Remember to shop safe and make it apparent to use up all your food that you bought at your last trip before buying more. In Michigan, food waste accounts for over $11.9 billion in lost revenue and 11.1 million metric tons a year of carbon dioxide equivalent gas emissions into the air. As Feeding America West Michigan states perfectly in their charity page, low crop prices and labor shortages may discourage farmers for harvesting everything they grow. Strict manufacturing standards cause good produce to be thrown out for aesthetic reasons, 2024. This states that a perfectly good apple could be thrown out because it has a bruise on it. That is what they mean by aesthetic reasons. And all these reasons contribute to the causes of food waste locally and globally. The last cause that we'll explore is the over-preparation of food in the restaurant and food service industries. that often over-prepare and produce tons of food a night. While the intention is good, especially with a lot of paying customers, over-preparation often leads to the waste of all the unsold food. DC Central Kitchen is committed to the reducing of food wastage and points out that the overproduction of food waste in the food service industries is the leading cause of food wastage. Since the food service operations cannot quantify the amount of food consumed on average, the kitchens keep producing amounts thought to be enough but are often always unnecessary. Lastly, let's discuss the policies to reduce food waste. The solutions to reduce food waste. By implementing policies that bring awareness, education, and give practical solutions for reducing food waste, Michigan and anywhere else in the world can reduce food waste. Policies like school waste reduction programs can be enforced. For SVSU, to introduce these programs is to teach the students about the importance of minimizing food waste, giving meal planning opportunities, and give strategies for donating and composting any leftover food. This could promote collaboration and cooperation to take action to address these food concerns and do our small part in the world to make a difference. Another policy is the food recovery programs mentioned earlier. Places can partner with stores, restaurants, and food producers to recover these surplus amounts of food that otherwise would be thrown out, and give the foods to food banks, soup kitchens, and other places serving individuals and families in need. Food security goes along with this idea that redirecting the surplus amounts of food to those in need through the food recovery programs will help alleviate the hunger and reliability in the communities to make sure that everyone has access to nutritious and affordable food. Now what Michigan can do is stated in the Michigan Policy Roadmap. The MI Healthy Climate Plan has recommended that Michigan adopt and pursue the joint USDA-EPA goal to cut food loss and waste in half by 2024. This joint goal is that on September 16, 2015, the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the EPA announced that the U.S. of 2030 food loss and waste reduction goal, the first ever domestic goal to reduce the food loss and waste in the USA. The goal seeks to cut food loss and waste in half by the year 2030. By acting on this goal, the U.S. can reduce climate and environmental impacts associated with food loss while improving food security and saving money for families and businesses. To end, let's finalize all we've discussed. By evaluating the problems, causes, and solutions, we now know what we can do to do our part in reducing the food waste in Michigan. Reducing food waste through policies is a simple yet effective way to address environmental and economic challenges in Michigan. By promoting awareness, education, and these policies listed, we can create a more sustainable food system that benefits our communities and the environment. We should all work together to reduce the food waste in Michigan and everywhere else in the world.